Hey everyone, welcome back to this J-Knight Batrep, where my Grey Knights are facing Owen's Imperial Guard. It's now time for Grey Knights turn 1. So I begin by moving my one squad of Paladins on the table through difficult terrain. So I rolled 2d6 and got a 6. So they're going to move up and just get in that crater in case for cover purposes, because I know that that flyer's coming in probably next turn, and it has three twin-link las cannons. I shoot at the scout sentinels, and I have to roll each set of side cannons by themselves because they're all master crafted. So each one can reroll one missed, which I think later we changed that just for simplicity purposes. But long story short, I roll and I pretty much get all hits. So that combined with Stormbolters, I roll and I get 4 pens and 1 glance. So I decided to put the glance first. So 1 glance and 1 pen on the first one, 2 pens on the second, and 1 pen on the third. So the first one is just a wreck because the pen does not make it explode. The second one is also just a wreck because they each only have 2 hull points. And the final one explodes with a roll of 6, and it explodes 2 inches, which I think gets 2 of the guardsmen, and in the end wounds 1, but he makes the save. So in the end, I just got 2 victory points, 1 for first blood and 1 for killing all of the sentinels. So already it looks like Owen is probably going to have to table me in order to win, since the max he can now get is 3 victory points plus line breaker, and I already have 2 victory points. So at the end of turn 1, here's what the battlefield looked like. My one squad of Paladins are on the table, and he's basically the entire other side of the table filled with guardsmen and sentinels. And that flyer may come on next turn, but we'll see. So Imperial Guard, turn 2. So we begin by rolling for reserves, see if his flyer comes in. And of course, it does. So the Paladins are in trouble with that Vendetta gunship coming in with its 3 twin-linked las cannons. He decides to move them right up to the Paladins and then parachutes his guys right behind it and gets a direct hit so they don't scatter. He moves his veteran squad just a little bit through difficult terrain, a couple inches, and then moves the other squad right behind them by 4 inches. Once again, just trying to get a little cover. And finally, he moves everyone else into the crater. Once again, just get a little cover save from my side cannons if I happen to survive, and if I can deep strike right behind them when I come in from reserve. He keeps the sentinels on the other side of the wall, once again, just to divide his forces and to make sure that I can't fire at everything at the same time. And then he rolls for his orders and gets them off. The first veteran squad then open fires on the one squad of Paladins and only gets 1 wound. And of course I pass my 2+ armor save because they're Paladins. They're meant to survive. The second squad then shoots at my squad and gets 2 wounds. And of course I pass my 2+ armor saves. The squad in the corner then once again fires at the same Paladin squad. Gets 1 wound. And I roll. And I again pass my 2+ armor save. It's getting very repetitious. The stormtroopers then open fire all their weapons at the squad. And in the end get a bunch of wounds. I think 3. So I roll my regular save first, and I pass. And then I roll my 2 invulnerable saves, and I fail both of them. So that means that the first 2 guys actually died because of wound allocation. Valkyrie then fires, misses all the first ones, gets to reroll, and misses all of them again. Then it fired the Stormbolters, and I survived both of them. And then he moves his Commissar up 1 inch. And finally I passed my leadership check for the Paladins. So now Grey Knights, turn 2. Let's time to see if my reserves will come in. So of course I begin by rolling for reserves. And they're coming in, which is great. So Drago and his friends come in, and luckily they don't scatter because I put them in a risky spot. And then I move through difficult terrain, 6 inches by rolling double 6s with the other paladin squad. So it's great, those paladins really know how to huff it in their Terminator armor. The paladin squad then shoots the stormtrooper squad. Gets a few hits, and then ends up killing 3 of them, which forces a leadership check afterwards. But he passes his leadership, so they don't run away, unfortunately. The other squad then decides to kill the sentinels, since they're really easily killed by the side cannons. We decide to, just for simplicity purposes, just to roll them all at the same time. And I get a bunch of hits. And all the hits, I get a bunch of rends and 1 glance. So pretty much they're all toast, except for the one at the end, which I have to, once again, roll to see if it explodes. So the first one's toast, the second one does not explode, and then from the 1 pen on the final one, it explodes again. This is getting very repetitive. So once again, I get another victory point for killing the Sentinel squad. The small Paladin squad then decides to assault his Stormtroopers. They overwatch, get a couple hits, and those 2 hits, 2 wounds, and I fail 1 of them. So 1 wound goes on the closer guy. I then roll for distance, and I roll short, so they don't get to assault in the end at all. That's not good. I really wanted them to assault. So here's what the table looked like at the end of turn 2. As you can see, there's the Vendetta in the center of the table, surrounded by a couple paladins near the stormtroopers. He still has a bunch of squads and full of guys on the table. And there's my lonely other squad with Drago in the center. So the table's looking really interesting right now. So as always, thank you very much for watching this part of the battle report. And when you're ready, click on the next part to go to part 3 of this battle report. And also, when you have a moment, please like this video, comment in the comment section down below, and subscribe to the channel.